Sorry about that. I've just watched one of the most boring games of the season. Liverpool versus Chelsea. Finished 0-0 again. Goalless. Some might call it boring. Honestly, a couple of positives to take for Chelsea. A couple of positives to take for Liverpool. But we're not really going to focus on Liverpool at the moment. They've definitely got problems, Liverpool. I think Klopp has a lot to do, a lot to sort out there. But what he's achieved in the past is definitely keeping him in that job at the moment. And some of the players that did so much for him before, well, they're not doing it at the moment, are they? So, let's get on to Chelsea. Chelsea is pretty much the same story as life under Potter. Maybe even life under Tuchel at the end of it. We're just lacking goals. We can't finish. We had a lot of chances today. I think 3 or 4 real big chances that we should have scored. A couple of one-on-ones that, I mean, they're almost bankers. They're ones you'd put your house on, and we weren't even close. Really, really disappointing, to be honest with you, again. And it just feels like a broken record at this point in the season. And you do think that, you see, it just confirms it, that after Potter's gone, life isn't going to be that much different until we really address some of the problems that we saw today. Let's start off with the defence. The defence, to be honest with you, an improvement. Aston Villa was horrific. Today, there's positives to take. I know Graham Potter would say there was positives to take from nearly every game, but today we actually saw some, and we saw that Cucurella played in the same position again, but we did see that Reece moved and Koulibaly stayed central as well. I thought Koulibaly, he used his presence a bit more today. He dominated that ball, to be honest with you. Every time it come through the centre of the pitch, Koulibaly was there, and he made sure that Cucurella wasn't coming inside as much as he was against Villa, and like he's done before when he's played at centre-back. To be honest, Cucurella actually showed improvement, showed that he might have learnt something. He stopped coming inside, he stuck to his battles there, and every time Cucurella dropped deep, Koulibaly knew that was his time to go in, and it was a little bit better today, and I felt they managed really well. And when you finish against Liverpool with a clean sheet, and Salah, Darwin and Gakpo are all on the pitch and none of them have scored, then you know you've done all right, to be honest with you. And that was one of the positives today, and something that, I mean, hopefully we can build on. Wesley Fofana, an outstanding performance today. He makes such a difference there. I mean, we'll talk about Reece in a minute being slightly further forward, but look, there's absolutely no question for me that Wesley Fofana should be starting every game. He's looking worth every single penny we paid of that massive transfer fee to Leicester, and quite honestly, I can see why he's been called up for France, and genuinely looks like a real top player again after quite a few injuries where we may have wondered whether he'd ever get back to that pre-leg break injury at Leicester. But to be honest with you, he's young enough and his pace doesn't look like it's gone anywhere. Definitely one of the fastest centre-backs I've seen in the league in a while. He's keeping up with the likes of Darwin, who's one of the fastest players this season. And yeah, definitely positives to take from the defence today. Unfortunately, there's not positives to take from everywhere. And we'll move into the midfield, which Bruno decided to go over 3 today. And don't get me wrong, we've seen a 3-5-2 work really well for Chelsea in the past. And I thought, do you know what? When I looked at the lineup, I thought, okay, he's definitely going to try and dominate the ball and hold on to it. But really, there was only, I would say, one man that dominated the midfield today, and that was N'Golo Kante. Unbelievable. Almost looks like he hasn't been away, and it just feels like I haven't seen that man have a run of games in so long. So I understand that he only got 65, 70 minutes today, and it just makes sense because the last time N'Golo Kante come back under Potter played him a 90 minutes almost straight away, and I think 87 minutes of that game he was fine, and then towards the end he pulled up with an injury, and that was pretty much it. If I remember rightly, he was just thrown in at the deep end and is never allowed to sort of ease back in. And I think at the moment with N'Golo, the way he's been picking up injuries, that is going to be so important. And obviously he's going through a period of fasting at the moment, so it's essential that we're just giving him the rest that he needs and allowing the guy to recover and not overplaying him. And look, if it means that by the time we get to Real Madrid, he's ready to play 90 minutes and maybe longer, we've seen him do it before and how important he can be in games like that. And he's a massive asset. And I just hope that that contract's signed. And if he can keep playing how he is for another 3 or 4 years, then we're one of the luckiest clubs in the world to have N'Golo Kante playing for us. So, look, he's been such a massive miss and he makes such a difference. He even created chances today. Going forward, I felt that he did the job of 2 players, as they said before. Defensively, he's unreal. We all know this. I don't need to tell you anything about N'Golo Kante, but yeah, everything I saw N'Golo Kante everything I saw N'Golo Kante do today was just the perfect reminder of what we have on our hands. And I think even Liverpool showed early on that they'd forgotten what Kante was capable of. They were trying to take him on, they were trying to dribble around him, and he just showed straight away that everything we knew about N'Golo Kante is exactly the same, and it's just going to probably take him 3 or 4 more games to get up to that level of match fitness that we all know that can be a well-dominated midfielder. But unfortunately, though, we've got to talk about Kovacic today was not at it. I worry that Kovacic has had more and more of those games, to be honest with you. There was a time when I thought Kovacic was untouchable in this midfield, and I'm not denying the quality that Kovacic has, but I struggle with the end product with him. He's such a fantastic player, so technically gifted, wonderful dribbler. But today, the massive point to talk about is his chance. He had a fantastic 1v1 opportunity and he's not even managed to hit the target. It's gone flying over the bar or round the post at a superb height. So, look, to be honest with you, that's one thing we all know Kova lacks, and every now and then he'll pull out the spectacular, but we don't always expect Kova to be the man on the score sheet. But when everything else is normally okay with Kovacic, you can kind of look past it. But today I felt that wasn't the case. I thought there was quite a few misplaced passes. I felt that he didn't dominate where he needed to. I felt that his press wasn't exactly on it today. He lost a couple of his duels, and it just didn't seem like the Kovacic that we know and we've seen before so many times. And I think N'Golo really showed the level that you can be at in this Chelsea team, and Kova just wasn't at it today, and that does worry me going forwards. When you got a player like Enzo who's joined the team, and I wasn't sure whether Enzo would live up to this price tag that we've paid for him, and realistically, I don't know if anyone's ever going to be worth what we paid for Enzo Fernandez. But there's one thing for sure, and that's that he's a fantastic player. He's mobile. I see types of passes that I feel like we just never saw Jorginho play. He gets around the pitch, he wins his battles, he loves a duel. He's even got a good shot on him. I know he had that chance at the end, which was really frustrating, but you just feel a little bit more confident when Enzo's on the ball in a goal-scoring opportunity than you ever did with Jorginho. And to be honest with you, I know it cost a lot, but it's not my money, and he definitely seems like an upgrade on Jorginho, that's for sure. And I've been really impressed with him. Again, fantastic stats and numbers that he's put up today. It's a shame that it couldn't have finished with an assist or a goal, but look, there's definitely more to come from Enzo Fernandez. He's so young, and I really do think that eventually once the midfield clicks and we get it right and they get consistent partnerships, that Enzo's going to be difficult to leave out the team, and honestly just going to go on and become so much more highly regarded in this Chelsea team. And if he isn't already, I'm sure he'll assert himself as a massive name in world football in that position. There's reminiscence of Matic and like Makaleli and Kante and Fabregas all into one. And I know he's not as good as those players are in all those individual areas, but to have all that together is sometimes so good to see. And I really do believe that Enzo can go on to a whole nother level. But I just felt like today we really probably didn't need the 3 in midfield, and maybe you could have moved one of those midfielders up into the attack, and who knows, we might come away with 3 points today. But look, let's get on to the attack. The attack is difficult to watch at the moment. Sometimes there's so much creativity, and today Bruno decided to go with 2 sort of false nines, if you like. We're still without that striker. Aubameyang, it just looks like the guy's never going to get any minutes at the moment, no matter who the manager is. And the way it's going in front of goal at the moment, it's baffling to see to see him not get any minutes. But it's not me there making the decisions. But I know I'm not the only Chelsea fan that thinks, do you know what? It's probably just worth a go. And when you see it this dire in front of goal, you start thinking, wow, Tammy Abraham really wasn't as bad as we thought. And even Lukaku could probably do a job right now, as much as we dislike the guy. So it's really difficult to watch. But look, Bruno thought today would be good to go with sort of 2 number 10s, I guess, if you like. But Havertz probably plays a little bit more advanced than Felix. Talking about João Felix, the guy is an unbelievably talented footballer. He's incredible to watch. He's one of the reasons that you'd pay money for a ticket, to be honest with you. When Felix gets the ball, it's extraordinary to watch. It seems like everyone stands still and Felix finds a way through the gaps, or pulls off an amazing touch, or a fantastic pass that no one else saw on the pitch. I think the guy sees stuff that other players just don't see, and that makes him a fantastic player. And the only thing I'd say about João Felix, and I think other Chelsea fans are starting to say the same as well, is the end product might be slightly lacking. And it's almost like watching Kovacic up front. It's really difficult. And they're not quite the same in that sense, but they offer so much technically, and you can tell they're brilliant, brilliant players, but something's just not quite there. And when you see the cost that it might be to bring him in the summer, you think, where could we spend that elsewhere? Could we guarantee goals? If it's 80, 90 million, could we spend that on someone else and guarantees goals? This team looks like it does have creativity and a lot more when João Felix is on the pitch. And to be honest with you, I've enjoyed watching him play an awful lot, but there's also some frustration. I just hope with time, hopefully we can iron that out. And there's just this niggling thing telling me not to fall in love with a lone player. But sometimes when you see some of the stuff he does, you think, wow, we haven't had a player doing this since Hazard. And there's touches that in there that remind me of Mata and Zola, and these gaps that he gets through, and some of the shots that he tries, they're great to watch. And you think, oh, it's millimetres if he was only a little bit closer. But look, that cutting edge there with João Felix is missing, to be honest with you. And I do wonder if that is something he can add to his game. When you compare him to Kai Havertz, there's a lot of similarities. They're both not out and out number 9s. They're not on the team sheet to just score goals. But at the moment, Kai seems to be the guy that we're relying on. And when he went one-on-one today, there was nothing in me that thought that he'd score. And the fact that he put it straight into Alisson's chest and it bounced back and hit him on the arm doesn't even surprise me. I think the one thing I'd say in that situation is Kai must be so used to not scoring now and not being able to finish these chances. There's that. Surely he anticipates that he's going to hit the goalie and just gets his arm out the way and hope that it comes off his hip or his body or torso or something like that, because it's becoming a normality now with Kai Havertz that I just never fancy him to score. I saw nothing today that was any dissimilar to what I saw under Graham Potter. The guy looks like the same player. He has no physicality. I even saw a thing today about his nutrition, and I'm not one to talk about nutrition, believe me, but he said he got a nutritionist, didn't feel himself, and now he's gone back to eating some sweets and stuff like that at half-time. And to be honest with you, if he's eating anything, he needs to be eating some protein, because the guy physically can't win a battle, to be honest with you. He shies away from a lot of challenges. He doesn't like a 50-50. Aerial battles he doesn't win. He doesn't dominate. I'm struggling to see what Kai Havertz offers at the moment, which is something I never thought I'd say after watching him take the ball round Ederson and slip it away and win us the Champions League. I just thought we had it all solved when I saw him do that. And to be honest with you, I don't think we've ever seen the same guy since. He had a really, really good game against Dortmund, and that's disappeared again. So, yeah, onwards and upwards. Hopefully it's something to build on. What I do think it shows today is that at the moment, no matter who we bring in as a manager, not a lot's going to be different. I know things will change, and I know we'll be able to get different managers will get different things out of the players, but I think it just shows today that, yeah, those problems are still going to be about, like they were for Tuchel, like they were for Potter. I just think that not being able to score goals is such a massive problem, and that isn't going away until we spend another 150 million on a striker, to be honest with you. But let's see what happens. I'm sure this week could be another big week for news. There's going to be talks about interviews and managers joining. So, look, let's see what happens. Definitely some positives to take today, more than there was against Aston Villa. And I'll see you in the next one.